group, our small biology group of students, and we are peer editing one of our esteemed guests, IA. And we are going over our edit using the mark scheme. Let's go. All right, let's go over the research question. First question, it says the research question is clearly stated and precisely formulated at the beginning of the paper. Did that check out? Did that check out, you guys? Should we have a check? Yes?
Yes.
Naho?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's look into this IA. Is the research question a biology in focus? Is it focused in biology? So she's saying, or he is saying here, he or she is saying here, how does D-galactose concentration, different concentration, 1.35, 1.8, okay, affect the enzymatic activity of lactase? Do you think that this is a biology focus?
I think so, but it could also just be seen as chemistry a little bit, in a sense.
Right. Yes, because it's enzymes, right? But because it's this person is yes, you are correct. This is biochemistry, right? This is lactose, galactose, and galactase, which is yeah, this is a standard. This is an SL topic, right? So galactose is a disaccharide. So, oh no, galactose is a monosaccharide, but lactose is disaccharide. And then you're using lactase as the enzyme. So yes, this will come in, but a biochemistry focus. That's fine. Next, the research question includes a clear and specific manipulated variable. Can you tell if this is the IV? Which one is the IV, Sarah? Which one is the independent variable?
Concentration of D-galactose.
Yes. Okay. So if it is easy for you to identify, that means that this is highly focused. And the RV, or the dependent variable, or the reacting variable, would be the, how do you measure it?
The rate of lactose hydrolysis.
Hydrolysis using a glucometer. Okay, so this person identified um, the tool that he or she uses as a reaction to the increase of the independent variable. All right, that checks out. The research question includes the scientific name, if relevant. Is there any scientific name here? But it's not necessary, is it? Right? I think this person, let's just name him. Takeshi didn't. Takeshi didn't really use any organism, right? So you don't really need to. But others, I think Sarah and Naho used a specific organism. Therefore, they need to write the scientific name. All right, let's go over the background information, guys. Ooh, background information. This is different. Okay, the need, importance, relevance of the research question is clear. Appropriate background biology of the phenomenon being investigated is described. The context includes scientific name, not really relevant. The context includes appropriate, accurate, relevant information about the variables. Citations relevant to the contextual information are provided. Among this, could you say that the description of the system is appropriate? Look how long this is. Whew! Wow. Right? What do you think? What do you think, Sarah? Be generous.
Please.
It's long, don't you think?
Mine is also
I
that
think
long.
it's yeah. It's kind of long, don't you think? And honestly, if you're a teacher, you'll be like, "Oh, this guy is about to BS me because like he's over explaining things." Okay? So what is it that we are looking for? We're only looking for a introduction. So it should be very brief. Okay? So brief introduction of the independent variable and citations that are relevant, okay, appropriate and relevant information being investigated, and you have to also justify why this process is appropriate. Okay, so this test is appropriate for this investigation because da 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 da. I think you did that. You you did that in some way. It's just that how it's written now is so long that we are lost in translation. Okay, this has to be edited in such a way that it would be more concise and it will not eat up a lot of pages. Yeah. All right. So it says also has a something here that says it has a theory of direct relevance. The context includes a description of a known relationship, variables investigated, scientifically accurate hypothesis predicted between the variables if relevant, and citations relevant to the contextual information are provided. So I am not a fan of this hypothesis. Okay, let me tell you why. I actually wrote it down right here. This hypothesis is weak because it does not discuss the appropriateness and process of the lab method. You didn't really go over the nitty gritty on how you over explained the inhibitor, enzyme activity, etc. And we kind of got lost. We kind of got lost on what this IA is really about. Okay, so that's what we need to. Okay, also the hypothesis also must have a citation, right? I see significant. There is a like alternative hypothesis. There is significant relationship between the independent and dependent variable because da 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 da, and then add your citation. All right. So it wasn't written in the hypothesis. Okay. And then I have here the variables. You explain the independent variable. You explain the dependent variable using a paragraph. And you also have your control data. So how can we improve this? Sarah, what do you think? Our friend here can do to improve the variable, the independent and dependent variable part? There's also calculations. Like I don't really. What do you think? How about you, Naho? What do you think can Takeshi do to improve this part?
Maybe since he already has a source that he's chosen to reference, maybe he could include like things from the preliminary experiments that he did.
Preliminary experiment? Yes. So he actually has one. It's just over here, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does have that preliminary investigation, but the independent and dependent variable, again, we are looking for. Okay, this is actually too long. We can suggest probably writing it on a table, maybe. I don't know. Um, or at least I don't know. I'm at a loss of what to say here. I don't know where this is coming from. Like, I don't know the relevance of this. So,
Can, can I explain why I
is this a
put that there?
procedure? Sure, sure, sure. Go ahead, go ahead.
So the study or the paper I based this methodology off of, in their experiment, they used m moles of of
Okay. Yeah.
of like degalactose. So I had to convert that into grams because I didn't know how much, like it was like 110, 150
I
mLs
got
worth. So
you.
I convert. Yeah.
Right. So this is basically this is a procedure how to get 1%, 1.35%, 1.85%, right?
Yeah.
So don't you think that this is more of a procedural? So perhaps you can put it as part of the procedure,
Okay. Yeah.
right? You can say, actually, it could be as short as saying, this is my independent variable. This is how much I wrote. And you said it here, actually. You said, these levels were chosen according to studies done. You mention it, but you didn't cite it.
All right.
This is not the correct citation, right? You mentioned it, but there's no citation. So we want to find a citation. So an in-text citation is applicable in this part. Okay, dependent variable, okay, quantitative data experiment. Basically, in the independent variable, you just have to state it and what will you use to measure this? That's all you need to know. Okay? All right. Controlled variable, you have stated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is great number. Why the reason of control and the method of control. Okay, I didn't really read that, but this can be more precise, I believe. Like, if you are running out of page numbers, I think this is something that you could also look into and make it more precise, or concise rather. Yeah. Okay, materials list. Our guy here has a materials list. Are you guys happy with this? Sarah and Naho, is there any, like, so remember, in materials list, or at least in the methodology, we are also looking for a communication that is clear and precise. Is this clear and precise enough for you guys?
Maybe for the degalactose, you could like
Mm-hmm.
elaborate on what the numbers in the brackets mean. Like, I know it's the concentration percentage, but
Oh yeah. See, Takeshi,
Yep.
right? Like 1.35, what? Bananas, apples, sand, you know? So I think she's right. So what is this? Is this gram, or is this the percentage? So there's a bit of confusion.
Mhm.
Any other, Nahon? Is there anything that you notice?
I don't think so.
So remember that glassware such as beaker is used as measurement. When we measure something, there is also a method or something to consider on error, right? Because is basically, can Takeshi, based on your uh, is precision of how much liquid, is it really um, like impactful if you make a mistake? Is using a beaker okay than using a pipette or a graduated cylinder?
Um,
Okay, so think about that. Also, yeah, because you used a graduated cylinder, but my question there is, how accurate is your graduated cylinder? You used
100.
1 ml, you used 100, you used 50. Use a lot. I don't know
Okay.
why, but yeah. So yeah, so what is this distinction? Also, what else? Okay, you have a milk there. Yeah, okay, 700 ml. All right. How much? How much of milk? Okay, 750. All right, cool. Um, do you think that are you guys happy with the materials list? If they're happy, I'm happy. Sarah, you're fine with this?
Yep, probably.
Okay. Probably. Okay. Our friend right here put a experimental setup picture of a with label. Happy? Are you guys happy? Labeled. The test tubes are also labeled. Wonderful. Okay. So some might argue this is not what we're looking for, but the results. All right. So you think about that. Actually, the best person to give you feedback is not your friend, right? So that it's impartial. They're just not gonna say yes, yes, yes to you. Okay, let's go over the risk assessment part. Is this enough for you guys? So Takeshi was able to identify two safety, two environmental, and says ethical not applicable, ethical issues. Susceptible to breaking. Okay, handle all glasswares with care, safety. Are you guys happy with this? Cool.
Cool.
Yep.
For safety. Okay, if this is enough, then you know. So another point of safety here, yeah. So it's glass. Did you use a goggle? Because
Yes.
what if that came to your eye? Did you put a lab goggle here? Right. So your protocol. Did you use? Is it in your material that you used a glove? Did you use a surgical glove or to protect yourself? Did you use a lab coat, that kind of thing to protect yourself? Okay, so is it written here? I don't know.
It's not. I don't think so.
Okay, so maybe that's something you can put in your edit.
Okay.
All right, and methodology, preparation. Okay, so adjustment to 250. So I think this is, yeah. So you made a uh, table of your calculation, how you prepared it, preparing of lactose. So 1.5 gram per 30 milliliters. That what it is? What it is?
Yeah. Should be.
Okay, and you also mentioned that you have a preliminary investigation and then you modified a little bit that is allowed. And did you put citations? Because here you said University of Free. You mentioned, but you didn't cite. Nah?
Oh, I did not say.
Yeah, so perhaps you have to cite it.
Okay.
All right, label the test tubes. Okay, good that you write that on your procedure. All right, so you label the before you begin, prepare this lactase solution. Okay, measure 25. So according to you guys, is this something that you could follow? Like if Takeshi will give this to you, Naho, would you be able, do you think that from the procedure or the steps, do you think you could be able to repeat it?
I think so. It seems pretty precise, but I guess to reduce like the length of the methodology for the concentrations, he could have said like refer to table something for measurements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think that's a good feedback from Naho. Yeah. Okay. Table 5, uncertainty. Okay, so the uncertainty is here. Table 5 for data analysis. Okay, so you have, Takeshi, you have provided here, um, you provided here, for example, graduated. How would we know that this is 0.05?
There is a calculation for it.
Yes, but it's not anywhere that I see, right?
Yeah.
So perhaps that you could provide like a sample calculation on how you had there is a 0.05 ml. So what is the calculation there? Okay. So just a sample, just a sample. Like for example, this digital stopwatch, so you don't really need to because it's already written on the packaging, right?
Okay.
All right, so our friend right here brought us an image of the water bath. I love your water bath. Actually, pretty nice. Okay,
Thank
and is this milk? This is your milk. Okay, cool. All right, slightly opaque. All right, stirring. Are you guys happy with the qualitative data? Could this be better?
Maybe it could be put into like a, I guess, table with the different
A table.
a table maybe with like different like trials that he had.
Mm,
Trial.
right, right. I agree. Right. So perhaps a trial with the image probably would also be a good way so that you don't really waste space and it's more organized, right? Because it's also observable data is also it's qualitative data, right? So it can be also organized in a table, right? And it's easier to read. Okay, you have a raw data table. Okay, control variables. All right, so this is where you. All right, so remember here. Let me see it clear and precise. It says here, there should be no insightful and thought. Oh no, where is that? Tables and graphs do not break across pages. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an example of a table that breaks. You actually can miss marks from these things. Okay? So you should know by now that this is not acceptable in the IB. I mean, if I were your MYP teacher in grade 9 and 10, I would be like, what is this? All right. So, so this one too. See number 1 and then page number 2. Okay? So perhaps you could make this better on your editing. Okay? So remember, no breaking of table. Descriptive data, all right, your descriptive data, you put calculation. Do you know what this is for? Sarah, could you understand what these things are for?
No.
Yeah.
Way to description first.
Yeah. These are just all these are what is this? This is formulas, but we don't really know why we got here, Takeshi.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at a loss. Like, okay, yes, these are calculations, but what are these for? Could you walk us through what these calculations are? All right.
Mhm.
What is the median for? What is the skew for? Right. Well, yes, right here with the skewness, you mentioned why you calculated it, and you used what do you say? Um, Perhaps Google spreadsheet. Yeah. Okay, so asymmetry of data, is that relevant? Were you able, so based on this paragraph, girls, um, could you justify that skewness is appropriate? Is calculators of skewness appropriate?
Was it like you need the skewness to figure out what mean, median, mode you needed to use for the data set? So
Yeah, it's the bell curve. Yeah, if it shows
Yeah.
a bell curve. So we're kind of lost. Takeshi, if we are at a loss of, so that means that this is not clear.
Okay.
Okay? Because we don't know. Like if you have 1.3, 1.1, oh wait, I should look at, all right. So I think I'm going to look like here. So 1.1, 1.8 goes up a little bit, 2.5, 2.7, and then 3. So you have a skew. I could see, I don't know with the, but oh my God, 2.5 to 2.1. 2.6. So you have a bit of,
Skewness.
if I analyze the data, like for example, look, trial 1 at 3.4 and 2, 3, 3.6, 3.4. This is a big variance,
Mm.
right? This is big variance. This one 1.2, 1.1, 1.5. Okay, it's okay. From 1.1 to 1.5. Okay, so I could see it from here, but probably that's why you did the skewness. But yeah, it's not clear to Sarah and Naho and I why you have to calculate the skewness.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. What does it mean when we process data? What are we looking for in a process data? I'm looking for a graph. Okay, so you have to very well explain to me why I'm seeing a table here. What is this for? Okay?
Mm.
Did you base something here to here? I think this is maybe where you have to get, like, for example, this is standard deviation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, here, standard deviation. So is that where you got yeah, so you put the calculation here, but we don't really understand.
Right.
Like, is that this is what it's for? Okay, so there's a bit of, in your process data, I would, like, the grade that I am giving you here in data analysis is I don't know, probably here,
Mhm.
right? Because it's inconsistent and sometimes it's inaccurate because I don't really understand where it is. Okay, so that's what you
Mhm.
need to work on here. Data presentation. Okay, you presented us with a table. Are you satisfied with this? Do you understand it based on what you see, Sarah? Do you understand the table?
I think it needs to indicate what the blue dots are.
Yeah, right. So there's a legend, Takeshi. Like, what
Yes.
is this green? What is that? Okay, so you're
Mm.
missing that.
Okay.
Anything else that we're missing? How about you, Naho? What do you see that you think that it can make this improve?
I don't think I see any, but like, I guess there could be like a process of why the graph was made. I mean, like why you chose it.
Uh-huh. Yes, right. Why did you choose this graph? Okay, so use these numbers because the independent variable is a continuous data. So a line graph is appropriate, but it didn't really say, like, what is your line of best fit? Why is it a broken line? I didn't understand that. Right? What
Mm.
is it? Like Sarah said, what is it? I don't know. It's not labeled. So we really don't know what we're looking at, that kind of thing. All right. So this is something that you could improve on in a bit.
Okay.
Okay, a scatter plot was used to visualize the trend clearly. Each concentration led to a higher glucose output. Error bars varied across. Okay, so what we're looking for in data presentation, in the process data, all right, so precise communication of data, there is figure 3. Okay, metric measurements are used. Okay, millimeter per liter, all right, percentage. Tables are well organized with specific clear titles, heading, and units. Data tables are well organized either by groups or types of data. Table column headers are present. Correct and consistent number of decimal places. Correct number of significant figures or significant digits. Graph is well organized with specific clear title, label. All right. Variation within the data collected is described with reference to outliers, skew, standard deviation, and interquartile range. Do you have that here? This is it, right? Your IQR?
Yeah.
All right. All right, but yeah, you didn't really, yeah, why is it, um, yeah, I think you have to explain why it is necessary to calculate that and what is the significance of that in your data.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. Variation within the data is visualized as error bars on the graph. So you have the error bars, but we didn't know that that is actually the error bar. Okay. Then we go over your inferential statistics. Here, this is a more appropriate hypothesis, Takeshi. So I
Yeah.
believe this should have been above here. Instead of, I'm sorry. Instead of this, I think you should put the null and the alternative hypothesis up there. It shouldn't be down here.
Oh, I assume that the inferential statistic hypothesis and the normal hypothesis were two different things.
Oh no. When I read that there is a null and alternative hypothesis, this is an indicator for the teacher that you are going to process your data through statistical analysis.
Right.
Okay, so that is actually a more appropriate hypothesis. Okay, so take a look at what you wrote here. There is not a significant correlation between the galactose. Why? Because there is no citation there.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. Okay, this is correct. Wrong placement, missing or lacking citation. Why? This is the null hypothesis, and this is the alternative hypothesis. What is your backup? Okay, and then I have here a graph. What is this graph? All right, there's a figure. What is this? Okay, we really don't know what this is, and then we have it here. Okay, I don't know why there is something here and it's written here too. Okay, it's just I don't know. I'm not really following what that for, because it's already written here. There's a significant. Okay, let's read this. It says, I used the Spearman's rank correlation statistical test to determine the result, and then you Spearman rank correlation, p-value of 1.4. All right, the value is significant. Then you rejected the null hypothesis. Okay, so next time,
Yes.
don't put the reject, put the accept. What is what you have accepted? Okay, don't write a negative clause. All right. Now my problem is, do you think there is, yes, you mentioned that you use the Spearman rank correlation. However, you did not explain why this is appropriate.
Mm.
Okay, because I have read what Spearman rank correlation is. Spearman rank correlation use. Can you see it?
Mm.
Okay. Measure the strength and direction of relationship between two ranked variable, analyzing non-linear relationship between two measurement variables when assumptions for Pearson correlation are not met. Is that so? Remember that you have a correlation. So that I am confused, because I don't know if you explain that. Okay. Okay. I am having confusion here because I'm seeing your work as linear, right? Because if you have a continuous data and you saw a trend, and the trend is related, so it's a linear. So that is what you have established. So I don't know if Spearman. Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, but
Go ahead.
My data was it was non-linear because it increased like exponentially. It was like an exponential graph.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I didn't
Okay.
use. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that but see, it says there that if a what is this? Sorry. It says here that if the periodization is not appropriate. So remember that you mentioned it yourself on your um, you also mentioned it in your interpretation of data that the bigger your variable,
Mhm.
the higher the variation. So you want to know if this is by chance or not,
Right.
right? Because from here, you are actually having very good data. What is,
Mhm.
how come as I go up, why is it right going up? Like what you said, exponent. So that's something that you need to look into, okay? Because, um, yeah, that's something that you have to look into. I am not clear if Spearman is um, appropriate, or did you justify that it is not a Pearson correlation is not appropriate? Okay,
Okay.
so that's something that you need to go into. Okay, let's go over conclusion. Okay, we're
Mhm.
almost done, you guys. So let's go over, because remember in the conclusion itself, Takeshi can earn 6 marks. Yes. So let's go over that. Conclusion: the investigation looked how different galactose. Okay, did did Takeshi justify that there is relevant what the conclusion is justified that is relevant to the research question and fully consistent with the analysis presented. So he mentioned here that he rejected the null hypothesis, accepted the alternative hypothesis. So there's a significant. Um, the investigation looked on how different uh, D-galactose concentration affected lactose. I don't, yeah, I'm kind of lost in that sentence. Experiment revealed the contrary. You said the results of my experiment revealed that contrary to my initial hypothesis, increasing the galactose level as a known competitor did not decrease the amount of glucose, but instead increased glucose levels overall. This suggests that D-galact did not serve as a competitor, but increased enzyme activity. Glucose levels rose. Okay. Thus, the data did not support experimental hypothesis. That's a confusion to me, Takeshi, because you said that you have accepted the alternative hypothesis. But then you're saying here that the data did not support the experimental hypothesis. Do you see the contradiction there?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Maybe it's my
Mm-hmm.
misunderstanding when I was writing this, but
Mm-hmm.
is experimental hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis the same thing?
Experimental hypothesis?
Yeah, or is that um
Could you, okay, what is it what is an experimental hypothesis for you?
um for me? Well, my understanding of it is an experimental hypothesis is kind of predicting what's going to happen in my experiment based on like the like
Right.
preliminary knowledge I have, right? So
That's right. That's right. But you, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna give you the short answer. It is unnecessary to have two hypotheses. You don't need an experimental and statistical hypothesis. A hypothesis is a guess. Okay? Like you are basically predicting. You only need one prediction. Now, if you are using a statistical analysis, which you believe because you made a repetition, right? So you are predicting that based on I repeated this data 5 times, therefore I have a statistical I can run a statistical analysis to prove this.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so an experimental hypothesis is only applicable if you're doing a lab practical, that you don't really need lots of repeats. Sometimes, right, if we're running out of time in the lab, we're only going to do one.
Yeah.
Right, but an IA is a thorough investigation. That's why you're repeating it 5 times, right? That's the reason why you repeat it 5 times, because you want to know that you are being consistent. There is a certain consistency with the data because your method is valid, right? There's
Mhm.
validation of the process. You are expecting a consistent result. So you only need one, and a statistical one is where I'm leaning at because of the repeats, right?
Gotcha.
You have
Yeah.
enough data for a statistical analysis. Okay,
So I
is
I
that
can just
mhm.
yeah I can just replace my previous experimental hypothesis with just my
Yes,
alternative hypothesis.
yes,
Okay.
that's right, because you only need one.
Sure. Okay.
You
I
only
understand.
need one. Yeah, you're just being redundant basically.
Mm,
Remember that if you are hitting, you want a 7, you want to be concise. So
mhm.
repeating yourself over and over by the same hypothesis, one is experimental, one it's not giving you any favor
Yeah.
basically.
Mm.
Okay, do you get that, Sarah? Do you get that, Naho? Because that also applies to you guys, right?
Mhm.
Because did you guys do two?
Yeah.
Did you guys have two?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? You don't really need two. You only need one. So if you wrote the null and experimental hypothesis, you have already established that you will use statistical analysis because you have enough data. You repeated your experiment 5 times for this, right? So all it is that if there are variants, if the do you get what I'm saying? You know what the variance is, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So as much as possible, that's why you have a zero. Remember that in the Pearson correlation, you have a 0.05. It should be close to that, right? So that means that if I repeat this test 5 times, I am close to the data as best as possible. As best as possible that it's 0.005. 0.05, sorry. I am very accurate. If you're close to that accuracy, that means that your test is precise. Now, if you have a variation, so this kind of variation that you see right here, because it's increasing, there's a lot of variation. That is that is showing me that as the concentration goes higher, the variation of result is getting higher. I want to know why.
Mm.
That is what you need to find out. Why is it that the trend of my data is as I increase, why is the variation getting higher? All right. So that's actually, it's an indicator of some sorts. Okay.
Yeah.
So when there's something there, but you got to find out what causes that change.
Yeah.
All right. So that is not very well established on this part. Okay. On the interpretation of graphs. Um, Okay, let's go over the conclusion again. Okay, a conclusion is justified through relevant comparison to the accepted scientific context. I see here a citation right here. It says the transfers galactose to other sugars, either to lactose or galactose itself, to form large galacto oligosaccharide hydrolyzed for even more glucose. And then there's a citation. What is that for? What is the relevance of that, Takeshi? Because these are big words. I don't know if Sarah and Naho can understand that. Can you? Naho, can you actually explain it?
I don't think so.
Yeah. How about you, Sarah? Can you read this can you read this paragraph and make sense of it?
I'm not sure. Probably
Right?
not.
So, Takesh, uh-huh. Say it, Sarah. What is
Then,
it? What we
like,
don't what?
no, I probably wouldn't understand easily.
Yeah. So there's a thing of conciseness there, right? Because like I think Takeshi, because these words like galacto oligosaccharides, these transfers, it's either to lactose or itself to form large galacto hydrolyzed for even more glucose. Um, we're kind of at the loss of where what is the relevance of that in the data. Maybe there is. It's just not clear. Okay, Takeshi?
Yeah.
Maybe there is. It's just not as clear as day
Right.
because is this based on did you say something here about the oligosaccharide something something, is it affecting this?
Uh.
We're not quite sure.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so commercial lactates, especially for microbial origin, are often optimized to tolerate product buildup and promote galactose formation, suggesting that the origin of the lactase could have played dude, these are big words that I think Lord ChatGPT kind of played a role with this.
Um.
'Cause like, no, it's just too much. It's too big words that
Okay.
I think I'm lost. I don't know about Naho. I don't know about Sarah, but we kind of don't get where it relates. Okay, but again, I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm just saying I think it has to be explained further because if you have like toned down a bit on the first part,
Hmm.
you will definitely have more space to explain your conclusion. That's just my point.
Understood.
Okay,
Yeah. I
because
agree.
you have enough space. Yeah, you have enough space to explain this further. But because you build up so much, you have some pictures, I know you have to look into that as well. That the explanation here is too convoluted that it needs a little bit more like reference to the data. What does that mean? What does this support? All that jazz. Okay? So that's what we need to work on probably on our next session. Evaluation and errors. What do you guys think? This is the last part. Thank you, Sarah and Naho, for being so. We are 48 minutes in, so you guys are really um, hanging on because I know that this is not yours, but at least Takeshi is getting a feedback from you guys on how to improve his IA. But we're gonna go over yours soon. What do you guys think with the evaluation and limitations?
I think overall he covered everything, but to make it more specific to
Mm-hmm.
this specific IA, he could include for the reasonings, he could include and connect it to the data that he got specifically into like
Mm-hmm.
which parts. So
That's
like
right.
yeah, for like isolating key factors, like what key factors could he
Yeah.
isolate in terms of that?
Yeah, that's right. So, what do you think are the highlight of your like for example, just like what we saw Takeshi, right? So, why is there an increase of variance as you what is that? So, or if what is the significance of that? What impacts that? What do you think what do you think can change here or at least identify if the impact is less or if there's if it's relevant or the weakness it's negligible, it's a significant factor of your procedure. Okay, there's not so much procedure here. It's the appropriate sample size, control of variable, it's kind of scratching the surface. Like you wrote it because it's expected, but it's not necessarily a kind of a more deep dive approach based on your own procedures. I think that's what Naho is also trying to express. How about you, Sarah?
I think just organization wise, it would make more sense to put the limitation in the errors and limitation like area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's right. Okay, that's right. Okay, suggestion yeah, that's true. Um Suggestion would be, yeah, I think it should be well worded for the label, Takeshi, because it says here errors and limitations, but the suggestion here is limitation here. So I think it needs improvement to kind of understand if this is a suggestion for improvement, the labeling
Yeah.
could improve. Okay. So what we're looking for, the suggestion is realistic, specific, improvements are relevant to the identified weakness and limitation. So perhaps my suggestion is like make it one.
Mm.
Like why does it have to be two? Um, I don't know. So we'll get into that a bit. Limitation is one, two, three. So there's actually three, and this is again yet another broken tab. But again, this is just a draft, so it's not the final one. So just watch out on broken tables. Okay. All right.
Mm.
And then we have here our references. All right. All right. Thanks, you guys. Okay, we got it here. Everything is it BEJKLMRSW Vera here. Um my okay, so the indents, Takeshi,
Yeah.
please make sure. So I think this should be here, I think. All right, so just this is more something that you can edit a little bit.
Hmm.
So there you go. Sarah and Naho, what would be your last kind of feedback for Takeshi?
I think it's just overall organization, and I think that will make
Mm-hmm.
it easier for like further edits when he's also going through.
Which section? Which section do you think has the most like he needs attention to?
I think the calculation parts, like, so that it's easier for the
Uh-huh.
examiner to kind of like see through the process that he had. So it's like, oh, I did this first, and then I did this because
Ah.
like this. I guess.
Uh-huh. Okay, so from data analysis
Yeah.
moving further down. Okay. How about you, Sarah? What would be your kind of last words for Takeshi as he edit his revise his IA?
I would say just um, like reduce like word count in the background research and instead redirect it into justifying a lot of his like calculations and experiment methods.
Yeah, I think I would echo on that, Takeshi, because I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that you did ample calculation. These are all appropriate. It's just how to explain and organize it on paper and justifying why you believe or why you think that this is appropriate for um, your IA. So again,
Yeah.
also a 7 is not impossible, but that's why I gave you a copy of the mark scheme so that you will be guided. Go
Hmm.
over again the checklist, right? To at least give you a kind of roadmap on what to improve on. So I think I would also agree with Naho. So and Sarah, redirect your word count down to the um, the conclusion and data analysis, so that, or at least organize the data analysis so that you could have a better interpretation in conclusion and evaluation. Okay, so it's not an impossibility. This is still, it's a work in progress, but it's not impossible. It can be a 7. Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much. So yeah, I think we had 55 minutes. So this is for Sarah and Naho, because we've already gone through the mark scheme all together. So I'd like to meet you guys separately or probably together, it doesn't matter, but we could go over. I think what is fun is that if we are in a group, Takeshi can listen to two other people. I mean, not only me, but like to give a more supported support for Takeshi as he moved forward to his edits. Yeah. So let's Naho and Sarah, let's organize. Let's schedule. I haven't finished Sarah, but I think Naho, I also need a little bit of time with yours. I think I'm finished on the first part.
Yeah.
I think I'm already in the data analysis. Yeah. So I think I'm done with the raw data. I'm not done with the process data, but I'll get into that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much. I will end this. So thank you. I'm just gonna end it. I'm just gonna say, let's just say goodbye. Okay. So bye.
Bye.
Bye.